Hello, welcome back to Danny Park English Reading Show. I'm going to introduce you to the Georgia Brown Class Clown, Dance Your Pants Off by Nancy Krolik, illustrated by Aaron Blecha. Did you remember I read you the chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 chapters in the last video? Yeah, now it's time to read the chapter 10. Let's explore this chapter together and find out what happens. Chapter 10. Is it on yet? George asked as he flopped down in the front of the living room. Couch on Friday night at 8 o'clock. It's starting now, his dad said. I sure hope Miss Kelly got enough votes to go to the next round, George said, although he doubted it. Miss Kelly danced on last night's show had been terrible. She does a weird spinning around on her back, then jumping and wiggle her hips and taking a fly leap across the stage. Mrs. Kelly had described her dance as a hip-hop, hula, and a ballet combination. But to George, it just looked like a crazy mess. Welcome to the Dance Your Pants Off results show, Guy Smart shouted into the camera. Tonight, found out if your favorite dancer will make it to next week's show. He held up an envelope. I've got the results right here. George crossed his fingers. He crossed his toes. He tried to cross his eyes. But then the TV screen looked all fuzzy. Okay, the first dancer to be saved tonight is... Guy Smart looked into the camera and never so slowly opened the envelope. George held his breath. Saigo Smith! The spotlight fell on a man in a pair of black pants and a white shirt. Saigo took a bow and walked off the stage. I didn't think he was so good, George said. He had been a better dancer than Miss Kelly. So had the next three dancers, Elvis, Musha, and Ricky, who were all moving on to the next round. By the time the commercial break came, there were only two dancers left, Miss Kelly and some lady named Casey, who had done a cartwheel in the middle of the dance and landed down on a real end. She had to have cost her some votes. Maybe Miss Kelly did have a chance. Okay, Mirror and Casey, Guy Smart said when the commercial ended. It's down to the two of you. One of you will be dancing next week and one of you will going home. The person who received the most votes and will be staying is... George was sweating all over. His heart was pounding. His fingers and toes were cramping from being crossed for so long. Miss Kelly, he whispered. Miss Kelly! Casey! Guy Smart announced. He turned to Miss Kelly, mirrored. That means you're going home. I'm sorry. Miss Kelly looked like she was going to cry. Her face was all red and her eyes were glassy. George turned away. He didn't want to watch his teacher cry on TV. He would just make seeing her on Monday way too bizarre. Shh, I think I hear her coming. I hear her coming, Juliana whispered to the other kids in class 401. On Monday morning, they had all arrived. Very early that morning had beaten their teacher to the classroom. Miss Kelly walked inside and flicked on the lights. Surprise! The kids shouted as they threw confetti in the air. Sage flicked on the MP3 player. Walk like an Egyptian, she shouted as the music played. And then the kids all began to dance around the room. They just like Miss Kelly had taught them. George knew they looked ridiculous, but Miss Kelly seemed really happy. She pulled out the wrinkled tissue and was tucked in her sleeve and wiped her eyes. Sage and Juliana danced over to their teacher. They were carrying a small plastic trophy. You're the champion dancer here at ZFB Sugarman Elementary School, Juliana told Miss Kelly. Miss Kelly wiped her eyes again and smiled. Well, what are you all standing around here for? She asked. Let's dance your pants off. Miss Kelly looked at George and laughed. I didn't mean that literally, George, she teased. You should definitely keep your pants on. The kids all laughed. Louis laughed louder than anyone. George felt his face turning red. He was never forgetting how embarrassing it had been staying there in front of the whole student audience in his tiny whities. Just then, George felt something weird inside him, really weird, like he was being tickled from the inside. He gulped. Oh no, not again, not the... Achoo! Phew! It had only been a sneeze. A big, gooey, watery sneeze for sure. But just a sneeze. And that was good news. Because sneeze might bring boogers, but they didn't bring trouble. George smiled and moved his head back and forth like an Asian Egyptian. And let's dance, he cried out happily. Chapter 11. You better not act goofy tonight, Louis said as George walked into Louis' mansion a few weeks later. My mom said I had to invite everyone in the class to watch Dance Your Pants Off, but she's definitely going to keep her eye on you. George frowned. Mrs. Foley had hated George ever since the supervisor had made him go crazy at Louis' birthday party last summer, and the spring talent show at the far spelling bee. And while the kids were calling on their lawn past Christmas, the superbird was a bird for all seasons, and that made grown-ups like Miss Whirly nuts. Here you go, Georgie, Sage said. I saved you a seat right next to me. There was no way George was sitting next to Sage. He plopped down on the floor next to Alex. Hey, dude, Alex said, check out that TV. George looked up at the massive flat screen TV in the middle of Louis' living room. It was as huge as a movie theater screen. This is going to be awesome, George said, even if it's at Louis' house. Okay, everyone be quiet, Louis said. The show is starting. Welcome to the Dance Your Pants Off final, Guy Smurfs announced. It's been quite a season before we get to the final promotions. Let's take a look back at the dance you've been seeing so far. One by one, the dancers flashed across the screen. When Miss Kelly came on doing the hip-hop hula, the kids all cheered. And then suddenly someone else appears on the TV screen. George, what are you doing on TV? Louis shouted angrily. Sure enough, there was George, dancing his pants off, literally. Everyone in the room cheered louder. Well, everyone except Louis, Max, and Mike anyway. Wow, dude, Alex said excitedly. My mom and dad gave them permission to show the tape on dancing that night. George said proudly. Georgie, you're a TV star, Sage said. No, he's not, Louis insisted. I'm the star. I'm the one with my own show, Life with Louis, remember? Sure, everyone remembered, but no one cared. For now, the only star in the room was George Brown. Well, actually, It was George Superbird. That was the real star. But there was no way George was giving that bird a syrup for anything. Not now. Not ever. The end. We read together George Brown Class Clown, Then Your Pen Job by Nancy Crowley, illustrated by Aaron Blatcher. Do you have fun? Yeah! If you want to read the next book with me, all you have to do is search in the YouTube like this. Danny Parker English Reading Show. Then my video will load it up. And don't forget to subscribe and put a good sign on my video. Thank you. See you later. Bye bye.